Hi, welcome back to A Spiritual Life. These videos are about how me and our family are selling everything to live the life we want, to live our dream life. So our dream life is the playlist here, and this is just the second video. The first one, could you sell everything and to live your life your way? We did. Maybe we shouldn't have put we did because we're not quite there. So this is part 2. This is the second video in that playlist in that series. And as the thumbnail suggests, how to deal with disappointment. So that's why I said maybe we were a bit premature when I put we did. Because by the time that video went out, we should have left our house. I think I filmed that the 28th of June, thereabouts, that video. And it was going out the first week of July. Now, I wasn't even going to do those videos yet until we were actually on our way. But hubby, on his channel, DIY Dad, check him out, he wanted to get them out. He was keen to get them out. So I thought, well, yeah, I might as well. So the news got out there, the big reveal, we're selling everything we own to live our dream, which our dream is, we already home educate, and the dream is to world school and to have these businesses take off and live more freely. The biggest thing is to be together as a family, because hubby was working away, I was at home educating the kids, and we just wanted to be home. And then instead of hubby trying to find work at home, it was like, can we just do our dream now? Because life's too short, because we've already lost 3 of our 4 parents. We know how precious life is. And so should we just go and do it now? And the other thing for me, the big drive for me, is that I want to leave the UK, not because of what everyone else is saying, but because I need the sun. Now today, it's there somewhere behind the clouds, but it's not, I used to work on cruise ships. This is what I said in that video. This was the big realization. When I worked on cruise ships when I was 19, so 25 years ago, I said to myself I would never reside in the UK because of the lifestyle where you've got the sun was just so much better, and I came alive. And the realization that I said it 25 years ago and I'm still here hit hard, because I'm someone that doesn't just say things and not do them. I always follow through. So to realize that that was the case, and it instigated the drive, really. So that's just a bit of a catch up. It is all said on that first video a bit more, but that's just a bit of a catch up. So where do we go from now? So again, there was a synchronistic event that came about for us, the way we sold the house. Again, I'll leave you to watch that video. That synchronistic event has now collapsed. So we find ourselves now in disappointment. And I haven't even written down my thumbnails and titles for this video yet. But I'm probably going to do the thumbnail to say how to be with disappointment, because that is just it. We are in so much disappointment right now. So what's happened is we had these buyers. They had a first-time buyer already lined up, so that was it. 3 in the chain. As you can hear from my accent and probably see from the greenery, we live in England, and the English system and all that entails. So we had this buyer, there was 3 of us in a chain, and these roads are busy today. 3 of us in a chain, and this buyer was going to buy this house when we bought it 2.5 years ago. And we now understand that this their buyers at the beginning of the chain were the same ones that were waiting for them to buy the house when we bought it, and it fell through for them. So these poor people at the beginning of the chain have been waiting 2.5, 3 years, and I think the only reason they're holding out is because it's a lovely house of theirs. We've had a look at it with a huge garden. If it's a young couple, well, basically their family, their parents live in that same village, which is probably why they're holding out. But it's a great one to be sort of a little small holding. It's got that much land, so I can see the appeal for a young couple, first time couple. So anyway, what's happened is we got to the point of, we started this in early February, and we thought we'd be done for middle of May. So hubby left his job. We sold beds, settees. We've got one settee left because they were going to buy that. We're sleeping on camping mats since the middle of May. As I record this now, because I don't know if it'll go straight out, but if I'm recording this now on the, I want to say 18th of July. So, yeah, 2 months of sleeping on the floor. It's not good. And because we thought we were there, we were nearly there. They'd signed, they were waiting to get dates from the removals. They kept banging on saying theirs is a 3-day removal date, because they've got so much stuff, which is irrelevant. It's relevant in the fact that they've got to get 3 days together with the removals. Yeah, it's not relevant to us, so they didn't need to keep saying that. But so we were waiting for the dates. So we trying to wrap up our last bits of getting sold and charity in it and all the rest of it. And no dates. Another week come and gone. No date. Another week coming. One date got passed to us, or 2 dates got passed. We sent back straight away the date that we could do out of those 2. And a week passed, and I'm like, but the removals aren't going to keep the date that long. What's going on? And I didn't want to feel like I'm pressuring them, so I let another week go by. Friday, I'm getting in touch with them, Friday tea time, to say, what's the crack? Is the other end, it's only 3 of us in the chain, so you only had to find out if the other end of the chain could do this date, which was the 23rd of July, so next week. And they got back to me, so I tried to call them at 6 o'clock on the Friday, didn't answer. So I text them this, saying, are the removals keeping these dates? What's going on? And they said, she got back at 9 o'clock that night, saying, the other people could do the 23rd, but now the date's gone with the removals. Oh, come on. So that was like, right, we're going to wait till Monday and get in touch with them and get a date. It takes one phone call. I did it to test it. I phoned up a removal company and said, can you give me some dates for a 3-date removal here to there? And he went, yeah, here's your dates. It was like a week away, week and a half away. So I don't understand what is going on with these people. I am open-minded. I will be accepting of everything and anything if you just let us in to know the truth. What's the truth in all this? Like, what is really going on? Because I don't feel like you're telling us. Because it doesn't take this long to get a date. So we're obviously getting riled up. And so in the end, and all our friends that were told, got a date yet? And we're like, no. And we're feeling really silly because week after week, we're still not getting anywhere. They've signed. We've all signed. We're ready to go. And we've not got a date. And it's going on for weeks and weeks. Should have been middle of May. We're now in middle of July anyway. So in the end, hubby and I said, right, what we're going to do, we're going to have to give them a deadline and stick to it. So we give them a deadline of yesterday, we give them the deadline on I think it was either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, 2 full days to give them till last night at 5 o'clock. I text him because they never answer. And the thing is, they weren't answering their solicitor. So the solicitor was trying them. My solicitor was getting in touch with their solicitor. The other chain were also badgering them now because they've been waiting for so long. And the solicitor saying, we can't get hold of them. They're not answering the phone. They're not replying. So I sent them this text to say, enough's enough. We're going to have to give you a deadline. We don't want to do this, but we need to move on either way. So we give them a deadline of yesterday at 5 o'clock. We took ourselves out for the day as a family. We met up with a few other families, and we all just took ourselves out of the house because it was getting that much. I'm sure you've all been here. You've all had this kind of thing happen. So, excuse me. So we kind of just said, enough's enough, give him the ultimatum. And then eventually, so I sent that to her because he was being quite nasty with me actually on text. Nice, softly spoken guy at first, and then turned into this manipulative, really aggressive, not considering of anyone else kind of guy. And so I stopped texting him and I was texting her. And it came back that she's not being well. Like, they've been saying this for weeks though, and blaming us practically for her having high blood pressure. And, what about us and the stresses we were going through? I was having stomach issues. I never get stomach issues. It's totally anxiety related. So no consideration for anyone else, basically. So anyway, I messaged her, but he messaged me back and said, you know all what she's going through. And, well, I didn't actually. High blood pressure, that's all I knew. But there's him. Why couldn't he make a phone call to the removals and a phone call to the solicitors to check it with the chain? That's all he had to do. So we came to the conclusion that it's him that doesn't want to move. Anyway, so in the end, he basically said, well, he didn't say anything. He didn't act. He said nothing about any action being taken. He just said, she's not well. And he started saying, if you were harassing your parents like this, I'm like, hang on, don't talk to me about parents. Mine are dead. Don't even go there. And I'm not harassing you. We don't have an agent. We're doing this direct. I need to be chasing you. Like, that's what we need to do. So anyway, I decided not to retaliate. Try and get into the mindfulness, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And yeah, so he ranted a bit, and he basically said at the end of it, he just put, this was on the Wednesday, and he just put, it's up to you, it's your house if you put it on the market. Damn right, it's my house. Maybe you to tell me. So there was no way he was going to do any action and try. So we give it another day. And so yesterday came and went, and that was it. So in preparation for this, we have gone and got 2 valuations booked in for Tuesday with 2 different estate agents, because now we need to get more money for the house than what they were going to pay. And they did say the price was reasonable, so I'm thinking it probably is worth a bit more. We did get 1 valuation, to be fair, but we should have got a few to see. So we've got them coming on Tuesday to set the ball rolling, but we need to have more than what they were going to pay for the added extras of the estate agents and the double fees of the solicitors now, because they still need paid for getting up to where they were. Great. So that's where we're at. Very, very frustrating, disappointing, angry. Anger was in there. And, hubby's not in tune with his emotions. I don't know if you personally are or your hubby's like this, but not very switched on to emotions. Will distract, will do anything but sit with them. So as this was happening, we were all getting stressed. The energy went onto the kids. It's awful, which is why we got out of the house yesterday. But he was like, right, we need to get this spick and span. We need to get top dollar for this house now. We need to, and I was like, let's go and sit outside. Let's go and sit in the garden for a bit and just chill. I'm looking round, he's got a paintbrush and a paint, and he's painting the outside wall, and the kids are wanting to be with him and paint. And he's like, can you do something with these kids? And I'm like, no, because you're supposed to be here and not doing that. You've got tomorrow to do that. So, there was friction. We were all raw, we were all feeling the emotions, we were all like lashing out, not blaming anyone else, because we know it's no one else's fault in our family, but it was uncomfortable. So in the end, it kind of went on for a couple of days, this, with the way he was. And he's like, well, I'm just so pissed off. And I said, so be pissed off. It's all right. Just be in that emotion of pissed off. Stop distracting it. Stop not feeling it and going to do something else that you think is productive and going to help the situation, when it's not going to, in that energy that you're in that feeling. So that's what I said to him. I give him it hard. And he actually did say, because he said, oh, I need to get out of the house, because he was going to spend a day doing some stuff in the house on Thursday anyway, on yesterday. And me and the kids were going to go and meet these families on the beach. And he's like, oh, well, I want to go on the beach. I said, well, come then, you need to. We all need to get out of this house. So he did. And he said to me, thank you for, reining me in and getting me out of that funk. And that is key. Not taking it personally, helping your partner or your kids out, and helping them through these difficult emotions, not to mask it. It's like, how many times, I was thinking of this the other day, how many times do we, with our kids, like, they're screaming, they're carrying on, and we just feed them. We give them something to shut them up, or we'll say, you do that and you can have a treat, you can have an ice cream, and just to shut them up, just so that we're not sat in their pain. But what if we learnt, and with mindfulness we can do this, what if we learnt to be okay with these really difficult emotions, and be all right with other people's difficult emotions. So this happens a lot for me, because I'm more mindful and aware now. This happens loads with me, where I'll be in a good mood, hubby won't be, and I'm not very good at protecting my energy to not consume it. I try, and it's like sort of like works for so long, and then in the end I become a grump. And so then I lash out at him and say, why have you done this to me? And there's got to be a better way. And it's communication, it's communication, and not being in fear of the emotions, not being in fear of sitting in someone else's pain. Now, I'll tell you something you can look up actually on YouTube here. Brené Brown, empathy, animation. Type that in, and that shows you how to be with someone else's pain. Really, really spot on, clear and concise. Like, it's the voice of her taken from a TED talk, but it's been put into an animation, and it's so cleverly done and amazing. And I always come back to that. In fact, I showed my husband that, and he's like, oh, right, is that what you do? But he wasn't brought up with being able to show emotions. So when I'm needing his emotional support, it's not there. And that's what we're working on. So this has ended up being a bit of a teaching video, and it's more about the experiences we're going through. But it's a bit of both. I just wanted to jump back on because I'm aware that I spoke about hubby's feelings with all this that's been going on, and not necessarily myself. So, but coming on the way back from my walk, and I just thought, actually, I haven't said about me. And it's now trying to rain, so I'm now hugging this tree and taking some respite. So yeah, obviously, like I said, we were all frustrated and angry and disappointed and all that stuff. But I just wanted to add with regards to me, I did mention it briefly, but I started to get these headaches and stiff neck, and the real thing was this um, sickness feeling. Now, when we talk about manifesting and things like that, got to be careful with what you say, because I was telling people how this man was with these texts to me, and I was saying, "Oh, his text, it made me feel sick to the stomach," and I was perfectly fine when I said that. And then the next day and the day after, I got these really horrible stomach pains, which I don't have. Touch wood. I don't have stomach pains generally, so I knew it was this anxiety related, this thing, and perhaps possibly also sort of like manifesting it with my words. So be careful what you say with your words. But so I felt that sickness, I felt that headache, I felt all this. And what I did with it was I took myself off to bed, or at least tried to. I think one time I tried and I couldn't sleep. And I don't like to take paracetamol and things like that. So I just sat with it and was allowing it. And I'm working on my whole feminine energy at the minute. So I was allowing it all to be there and sit in this feminine energy. And then when hubby was reactive around that and me allowing my stuff, I would have to say to him, I would have to put my boundaries up and say, you know, what about me? Because there was actually one point where I was worried about the money mindset thing, and I was worried about the money side of it. And he's like, "Oh, it's you and your money thing again." And I had to like pull him up, for want of a better word, and say, you know, you're aware of my issues around money, which I've done a lot of work on already. Why couldn't you have been supportive with me in that if you knew that that was an issue for me? Like, why couldn't we just sit down and talk and say, look, I know you're worried about money, but I've got this, I've got that, we're going to be all right, and have that connection, have that communication. So that was what I said to him, and he kind of understood then, because he doesn't see it. So there was a lot going on for me with all what's gone on as well. And the way I dealt with it was to be with the emotion, to be with the physical sensations in the body as well, which was horrible. And just keep thinking of getting well and getting over this. And as soon as we realised what we had to do in the situation, which was give them an ultimatum and start thinking about moving on, it's cleared up. Like, this was only yesterday that, no, Wednesday I felt really bad. It's now Friday. And yesterday I was perfectly fine and we were able to have that beach day. So it just goes to show what you're telling yourself and how you can be with yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, and your bodily sensations. And if you're okay to be with all of it, then it passes through, because that's what emotion is, energy in motion, it just passes through. So that's how I handled it, and just wanted to show you that whole connection around helping each other through these difficult emotions. So what I'm saying is, feel the feels. We're doing it anyway. It's just going to take us longer and a lot more money. And hopefully we will get to living our dream, and we can look back at these videos and go, yeah, we got through that. And that's what life's all about anyway. Whether you're in autopilot and not living your dream or working towards it, or whether you are. But I know which one I'd rather be in. I know which camp I'd rather be in. I'd rather be working to live a conscious life for me and my family. And that means more to me than anything, like, because that's high on our family values, being together and just supporting each other and having that connection. So that's the second video of this part. If you haven't seen number one, go and jump onto that, and let's hope there's better news around the corner when you're following us on this journey. That's what I've got for you. Much love. Bye for now.